Gentlemen of the press, the Ondo State government find it very pertinent to alert the general public, particularly the security agencies, of a looming scenario which is very dangerous for our democracy, especially as we approach the October 10 governorship election in the states. All along we know that while the people of the states have been abreast of developments in the states, and they have also followed up the campaign tours of the various governorship candidates towards the election. In the last 2 weeks, however, we have observed a very untoward scenario, which we think is pretentiously inimical to the peaceful conduct of any election anywhere in the country. There have been some skirmishes of violence, there have been some pockets of crisis, and in all these cases, the issue has always been the blame game, which is very usual in politics. But today, we find it very, very imperative to alert the public that the opposition, particularly the leadership of the Zenith Labour Party, and most importantly, the governorship candidate of the Zenith Labour Party, today decided to do the unthinkable, which was uncovered by government. And that was a planned attack against himself as he's prepared to embark on his campaign tour to Owo today. We do not have control over his itinerary. Wherever he goes to is none of our business, because he's free to campaign as candidate, governorship candidate of the party, of a party in this election. First, we found very curious that as part of his itinerary, he was to visit Uso. From Uso, the next point of call was to be Ijebu-Owo, which is the enclave of Mr. Governor. But from last night, we discovered, in fact, we uncovered the plot, rather, that he had arranged a vehicle loaded. It's an unpainted, an unbranded vehicle. It's not branded in the campaign colors of the party. Plain, no plate number, not branded, with about 5 hoodlums in the vehicle. That vehicle was to accompany the ZLP candidate on his campaign tour as he was to move to Owo today. And the plan was for that vehicle, shortly after getting to Uso, before they proceed to Ijebu-Owo, that unbranded vehicle was to leave Uso and move straight to Ijebu-Owo and carry out this premeditated but arranged attack on the convoy of the governor. It was meant to be seen as an attack that is coming from either from the residents of Owo, who he will want to believe that are supporters of the governor, or supporters of the APC, or maybe political talks under the control of the APC. That was the scenario that he wanted to orchestrate. The theater, however, failed. It failed because government was quick and swift enough to ensure that it was, after discovering this sinister move, it was made public. And true to type, the Zenith Labour Party candidate, because that plot had been uncovered, decided to suspend that campaign. He issued a statement shortly after government made an official press statement alerting the public and especially the security agencies that a move of that nature was in the offing. We find it very curious, very alarming, and we believe it is unconscionable, highly condemnable, that contests must be made friendly. Contests, particularly electoral contests, must be seen to be done in a brotherly and friendly manner. But in this case, we are getting to a dangerous dimension. We are using this opportunity through this medium to appeal to the security agencies to up their game as we get very close to this very crucial election. It is very important because we know and we have observed that the ZLP candidates in particular, his desire is not to contest and win an election. His motive is to go into the arena, create crisis situation, create situations of chaos, to give the impression that there is insecurity in the states. As a responsible government, we are not just a party in government. We are not just a government that has been put in place by the APC, but there is a sitting governor whose responsibilities include, of course, the protection of lives and property in the states. And there is no opportunity to exhibit that capacity and ability than now as we approach the October 10 election. So government is using this medium to appeal to all political gladiators, all stakeholders, to shine their eyes, as it is normally used in the general parlance, that not all attacks are actually carried out by perceived enemies. That this one that was uncovered today was indeed one that was perfected to coincide with the visit of the INEC chairman and that of the IG as they came for the stakeholders forum today. One could only have imagined, if government did not raise alarm, the scenario would have witnessed in these states. All the headlines were likely, in fact, would have carried a very bad story about Ondo states. We are not just talking because we are also partakers or we are also contesting this election. We are talking because we have a responsibility, and as custodians of government authority, we hold responsibility not only to members of our party, but to every resident in Ondo State, not only indigenes of the states. So we must do the needful by raising alarm and by also calling on the security agencies to ensure that activities of the governorship candidates are thoroughly investigated. They are thoroughly investigated because what the state survives today can only be imagined than experienced. Because we don't know, we can't even fathom the enormity of the consequences if we didn't uncover this plot and if we didn't blow it open. The question people should ask the ZLP candidates and his patrons is this: what happened that he had to put off or suspend his campaign shortly after government official statement that this was a plan that was on ground that had been uncovered? We want to use this medium to appeal to everybody, including the ZLP candidates, that this contest should not be seen as a do or die affair. That if he's not prepared, if he has a very defective campaign structure towards the election, I think creating situations of violence is not an option. Government will not allow that to suffice in these states. If he's prepared, like all other candidates, let him go all out and contest. Let him, because of the inadequacies he has, let him, because of the inefficiency of his own campaign structure, disrupt the resolve of the people of Ondo State to sustain governance, good governance in the state. This, we think, is also important for us to let the public know, and that is the reason we have called this very brief press conference. I thank you all, and God bless. Medium to condemn the unguided utterances of politicians, particularly as we inch towards October 10. Well, the governor of Oyo State was quoted to have made a statement. I am too small in the ladder of governance to react directly to a governor, but I do not believe that as spokesperson of government, we will just wish that statement away. I am persuaded to think that he didn't make that statement. But if actually he did, and factually he did say that the APC was precipitating crisis ahead of the election, I think it would be an unfortunate one. Most unfortunate in the sense that we've seen all around the buses that the Oyo State government has imported into Ondo State. Well, because we believe that the security agencies have a statutory responsibility to ensure that whatever seeming insecurity that is, coming ahead of this election, they can properly take care of it. Government is not bothered. But we believe strongly too that if at all he made that statement, I think he will be the most unqualified person to make that statement, because we have already seen instances and credible evidence to the effect that he has imported thugs from Ibadan. And I know that the security agencies are trailing the movement of these people. I am not a security agent. I am not competent to even address that. And the mode of operation of the security agents to unravel the movement or to trace the movement of these people, I may not be able to say. But it is just also to alert the public that hoodlums and thugs have been brought from Ibadan. But the same man who has brought thugs will now turn around to say that a colleague governor from a neighboring state has imported thugs. I think that is an unfortunate development in the history of our politics. So I think the Ondo State government takes a serious exception to that, even though he spoke about the party. But we have a responsibility as custodians of authority in the state to state the facts that that statement is not pleasant at all. It's an unpleasant statement that was said to have been made by the governor of Oyo State.